Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/hamnation. And by ICOM. For more information, visit ICOMAmerica.com/hamnation. And by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now. Go to harrys.com/hamnation to get $5 off your first order.
This is Ham Nation, episode 265 for September 14th, 2016. The boys are back in town.
Hello, everybody. We are back. The guys are here. However, it looks like our technical director has kept the tradition of the all-girls night from last week because we have Kara here. Kara, we need to get you on camera before the show's over. You need to get on. We'll do that at the end. Okay. But Kara's in charge tonight, so the show will be much better run and more organized. Thanks for being here, my dear.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, we're glad to have you. Somebody needs to keep that outfit together back there, and you'll be doing it. Well, you must know that we have a great show tonight. Randy's back with the next segment of his project, and I'm really looking forward to that. And he's got other surprises for us, and Dale's got a bunch of really great videos. And then, of course, Don is here, but let's go say hi to everybody and see what's going on before we come back to me. Gordo, how are you doing? Everything okay in Costa Mesa?
Everything is great. We had a spot of cool weather come through yesterday, so we're all bundled up. All is well. Back to you, Bob.
Well, I wish we could send our rain your way. We just had a huge downpour. Again, we had a couple of them today, but one here about an hour and a half ago. It was crazy. But things are nuts, but that's okay. George, how are you doing? Everything okay? You got the transmitters up and running?
All of them are up and running. At least they were a little while ago. So hopefully they'll stay up through the show here. It's been a little drier here, Bob. I'm glad that we were able to share some of that rain with you because we sure had our share here for a long time. But, fun show tonight. Got a couple of things to talk about a little bit later, and we'll come back and check those out shortly. Okay.
We'll be back to you. And, of course, Don, the master of the voice. Don, you have is it tomorrow is your anniversary? Could you?
Yeah, wow. You know what? I was going to show these later, but I can show these now since you brought it up. Yeah, 32 years ago tomorrow, a lovely lady named Dawn completely lost her entire mind and did this.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
That was September 15th, 1984. And we had quite the cake. There was that.
Oh.
And then here we were getting ready to depart for a life of wedded bliss that has lasted so far 32 years tomorrow. And until and unless she comes to her senses, she's stuck with me. So happy anniversary, baby. I love you.
That's great. Congratulations. Well, we'll be back to everybody here and get your set. I had a lot of people ask me, what have you been doing and what's going on? I'm going to turn you on to one of the things I'm doing. Let me do something here. I'm very into this little deal. Here's some stuff that happened of 1965, 66. And I have tapes that I did each night when I'd be playing, and I just let the recorder run. Now, they understand, it's 1965, 66. And who would think that all these years later they would still be good? I'm really happy because what we're doing now is digitizing all of them so we could save them. Because don't know how long they will last, but we'll find out. But I'm having a lot of fun reliving all those old days. I didn't think I played that good when I was a kid. Wait a minute, I still am a kid. And I'm working on, I've had a couple of people in the chat room. I'm working on some things. I was going to do it today, but I'm kind of afraid of the shaky internet here tonight. But working on some antenna projects. I got a really good one for next week and some other things. So we'll be back doing some of that. And in the meantime, everybody's holding fort, and we're happy to be back. I will say, before we get this show really kicked off, I was totally amazed with the girls last week. It was just phenomenal. The show was incredible. They all did great parts, and Valerie kind of put it all together, and her and Amanda did such a spectacular job getting that going. And I will let you know in leaving if the banner wasn't there. Here, I'll stand up. This is the week for Route 66. So after the show, work the net after show nets, but go find. It'll be like a 66, 38, 66, 39, 66, 14, 266, that kind of thing. I think I'm going to be on 72, 66, somewhere around there. If you have not worked Route 66, you want to do it. It is so much fun. There are 15 of us up and down Route 66 from California to Chicago. And, oh, man, so much fun. And then if you work all of them, they have a beautiful certificate. And, of course, the whole gist of that thing is that we have a great QSL card. I thought I had one laying here close by, but we have a great QSL card that you'll be able to get also. So go work Route 66, have some fun with it. It's really good. It lasts till Sunday early morning. So we'll see you somewhere on those frequencies. But in the meantime, we got a lot of program for you, and it's great to be back. And the girls will be back. Yeah, somebody keeps asking me, you going to do that again? You better believe it. So, Gordo, what's going on down in Costa Mesa?
Everything is fine, and happy anniversary to Dawn and Don. Coming up September 24th, the big radio expo in the Belvedere, Illinois area. Pacificon. Bob and I will see you all at Pacificon San Ramon, October 14, 15, and 16. And then November, that's the big Stone Mountain Ham Fest. And I'm happy to report KL7AJ, Eric, will be there, as well as Pete Trotter. So that's fun. But this weekend is 10,000 megahertz, part 2, the ARRL weekend contest. And a little bit like Route 66, all of us have to rely on batteries to keep our portable stations on the air. And I'm very happy to say this battery right here is getting retired. This is about a 40 amp hour starting battery for a motorcycle or a small engine. It only cost me about $100, and it gives me about 20 amps that I can depend on, and 20 amps that are down around 11.5 volts. Sealed lead acid weighs about, I don't know, how many pounds does it weigh? 22 pounds. And it is now retired. The lithium iron phosphate batteries from BioNO, this is the latest, 10 pounds instead of 22 pounds, 40 amp hours. Yeah, expensive, about $375 to $395. But this is the way to go if you're planning on operating high frequency. You've got a 100-watt transceiver, which actually is 200 watts input. This battery right here, weighing only 10 pounds from BioNO, will keep you on the air all day and likely all night. What I'm using this weekend, Bob, up on the mountaintop for the 10 gigahertz and higher contest is a BioNO Power 20 amp hour, only about $199. This little lightweight guy weighs only 7 pounds, And this will keep me on the air easily for 2 days, not even needing a solar panel. And for under a couple $100, it's a real value. In fact, it even comes with its own battery charger. In fact, all of the Bioenno, I have to get the name right, batteries come with their own battery charger. And this is lithium iron phosphate, not lithium ion like a Samsung 7, Note 7. So I'm very happy to say that I've had no reports nor all the abuses I do to batteries had I ever have them go up in smoke. These little guys, these are Alarm Company batteries. They're about 7 amp hours. They're sealed lead acid. You can get about 4 to 5 amp hours before the voltage gets too low, whereas the lithium iron phosphate, they hold their 13.8 volts all the way up until about 95% exhausted, then they go down rapidly. These little 4.5 pounders we use a lot for QRP operation. They're only about $25, but they're heavy. This thing weighs like 4.5, almost 5 pounds. The answer is more capacity, a smaller profile, infinitely lighter, about 3 pounds, and this is 12 amp hours from Bioenno Power. And each of the Bioenno Power batteries, to ensure that they're never going to go up in smoke if they're abused or short-circuited or over voltage or under voltage, come with a PCM. And you'll see that, we'll do it this way, you'll see that PCM bulge right here. This is what protects you if you accidentally get something reversed or you accidentally short something out. What occurs is the PCM will instantly open up so that there's no voltage coming out of the Anderson connectors. Well, how do you reset it? Do you like push a button? Nope. The way you reset the PCM is if you have 2 of these batteries or your automobile is running, simply input the voltage about 14.6 to 14.8, and instantly the PCM goes into reset. But the thing to remember is you've got to have a good voltage source to be able to kickstart this back into operation above 14.6. You could do a solar panel if you shaded some of the panels and had about 14 to 15 volts. That will reset it. I've only accidentally caused the PCM to power down once when I was doing a class, and on purpose I shorted it out and it went spark, and then that was it. So to run it back up again, I just added 14.6 volts from a running car, and I'm now back in service. So I'm very happy to say that the Kevin and the Bo and the whole gang at Bioenno Power, they really have an interest in ham radio operators. They now say that their batteries, lithium iron phosphate, are available at all the major ham radio stores, including Ham Radio Outlet and other stores throughout the country. So if you're thinking about going a little bit lighter than that monster 40-pound sealed lead acid, which only goes for about 300 recharges, all of the Bioenno batteries go for 3,000 recharges, which means you've got about 5 to 7 years life if you don't use them all the time. So this weekend, I'll be on the air on 10 gigahertz, hoping to make some good contacts 300, 400, and 500 miles away, running all of 2 watts output on 10,368.1 megahertz. But it's a great way to play radar and radar communications on a band that really has plenty of elbow room for all of us, including amateur television that you might see over my back shoulder. They do a lot of 10 gig work there. So if you're going portable to work some of those Route 66 stations, or if you are a Route 66er, or you just no longer want to lug up that 40-pound sealed lead acid battery, think about Bioenno, Bioenno power.com, and take a look and see what they have. My favorite is the 12 amp hour if I'm running just a modest setup. But if I'm running a big 100-watt radio, then I'm going to go for the larger one. And this one is the 20 amp hour that will easily support 15 to 18 amps of current draw on CW, data, or voice. It weighs 7 pounds only, costs just under a couple $100, and is my favorite. And by the way, if you get it, be sure and both solder as well as swedge your connectors on each end. So if you're tugging away, there's not a chance of those connections that you made coming loose. So enjoy mountain topping. And finally, an alternative to the old battery we see in alarm systems and the new batteries from Bio-Inno Power. And that's my story. And now let's go on over to Don, because he's going to have something that's going to get us something to listen to. Don?
Do you know, Gordon, what's the worst thing about lead acid?
What is the worst thing besides spilling it?
Losing your ID. Think about that. And while you're thinking about that, I want to tell you about Audible.com. They are the leading provider of audiobooks across all types of literature. This includes fiction, nonfiction, periodicals. They even offer language instruction and foreign language audiobooks. But if you're like me, you like fiction. And I love me a good spy story. So for listeners of Ham Nation, Audible's offering a free audiobook to give you a chance to try out the service, and one that you might consider. I've read 5 of his books now. It's Daniel Silva, and this book is called The English Girl. You are going to like this if you're a fan of the spy genre. Gabriel Allon is an Israeli spy, and The English Girl happens to be the girlfriend of the British Prime Minister, who is married. Well, she is kidnapped. And the prime minister puts up a whole great big ransom. And in the end, she gets killed as our hero, Gabriel Allon, is running towards a car to save her. She is in the trunk. The car explodes. And that's how it ends. Or does it? No, that's not how it ends. And I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it was a twist that I had no idea was coming. You see here, 12 hours and 14 minutes is the length of this book. I listened to it on the way to and on the way from the Huntsville Ham Fest, which is about a 12-hour round-trip drive for me. So I love this book. I love Daniel Silva. He's got 13 of these, the whole Gabriel Allon series. And if you're a fan of that kind of spy genre, you are going to love this. I highly, highly recommend any of those Gabriel Allon books. If you want to download that one for free or any other book of your choice, go to audible.com/hamnation, audible.com/hamnation. You're going to love it. audible.com/hamnation. I promise you, if you spend as much time behind the wheel of a car as I do, I've got a 125-mile round trip to and from work every day. So that's 2.5, sometimes 3 hours. If there's a wreck or fog, sometimes 4 hours in the car every day. And Audible.com just makes that time fly just as fast as the New Orleans drivers trying to get around me in the slow lane. Well, let's go ahead and get into the news of the week now from Amateur Radio Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2028, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, September 14th, 2016. We begin this week remembering silent keys.
It has been said that your best hope as a person is to make a difference in someone's life and to leave behind a good legacy. Ellie Van Winkle, N0QCX, took that mantra to an exceptional level. A retired kindergarten teacher and longtime member of the Boulder Amateur Radio Club in Colorado, Ellie and her husband, Howard Rip Van Winkle, NV0M, decided to start an offshoot called Bark Jr. for kids from 9 to 18. They invited them into their home on Saturdays and for over 24 years taught more than 250 children about technology, electronics, and ham radio, and best of all, got them licensed. Ellie passed away on September 1st and did, in fact, leave behind a stellar legacy. Under her and Rip's guidance, Bark Jr. grew into one of the largest radio-oriented youth organizations in the country, if not the world. Ellie is survived by her husband, Rip, and her sister, Maud. From all of us here at Amateur Radio Newsline, we say thank you, Ellie. Your efforts, and others inspired by you, are helping to ensure that the hobby we all love has a bright future indeed. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Paul Brown, WD9GCO.
The world suffered another big loss this week. Joe Hostine Kelwood, a World War II Navajo code talker who received the Congressional Silver Medal for his service with the Marine Corps, has died at the age of 95. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey remarked that more than 400 of the bilingual code talkers use the Navajo language to keep communications secure from the Japanese following the Pearl Harbor attacks.
That was Jim Dameron in 8TMW. It's summer in the U.S. now, but winter is on its way. And if you're looking to escape, Hams Down Under are celebrating a milestone in their summer month of February.
As stations in the Northern Hemisphere prepare for a rainy autumn and cold winter, we OMs down here in VK and ZL are looking forward to spring and summer. In summer, the largest meeting of radio hams in the Southern Hemisphere will take place on February 26, 2017 at the Wyong Racecourse on the central coast of New South Wales here in Australia. The Central Coast Amateur Radio Club will be holding its field day, known to hams in the Northern Hemisphere as a ham fest or radio rally. The CCRC, based just north of Sydney, has held those gatherings for 60 years as a way to raise money for the club. The club will mark its 60 years with a special call sign to be used later in 2017, but during the field day, using VK2WFD for Wyong Field Day seems special enough. So, to all those hams wanting to escape the cold months now arriving in the Northern Hemisphere, isn't February 2017 the best time to get away from that horrible winter weather and head down under to enjoy the Australian summer? The field day and the club itself are just a short hour's drive out of Sydney. And for those interested in SOTA, there's even a local drive-up summit with free electric barbecue facilities on top of it at Mount Elliott. What could be more Australian? Full details on the club and the Wyong Field Day can be found via the club's website, ccarc.org.au. But plan early, get in quick and book those cheap seats on the intercontinental flights and enjoy a well-earned break down in the land of koalas and kangaroos. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Graham Kemp, VK4BB, where the K in VK is for kangaroo.
Now let's get caught up on the world of radio scouting.
This week in radio scouting, we have 2 activations of the K2BSA call sign and other updates. Stephen Huey, AK4R, will be the control operator of the Portable 4 station at the Waihanassa Order of the Arrow Lodge Fall Fellowship in Lebanon, Tennessee, from Friday, September 16th through Sunday the 18th. Expect to hear them on the air mainly on Saturday during peak activity at the event. Tom Schussler, N5HYP, will be the control operator for the Portable 5 station at the National Scouting Museum in Irving, Texas on Saturday, September 17th. They'll be active from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. local time on HF. This is in preparation for their big Jamboree on the Air event. Speaking of Jamboree on the Air, it will be the weekend of October 14th through the 16th. We ask that you take the time to register your event at the K2BSA website and submit your operating schedule. If you are looking to participate, it's not too late to contact your local district or council and help make amateur radio an experience for the youth in your area. For more information on K2BSA, JOTA resources, and radio scouting, please visit k2bsa.net. For Amateur Radio Newsline and the K2BSA Amateur Radio Association, this is Bill Stearns, NE4RD.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Paul Brown, WD9GCO, Jim Dameron, N8TMW, Graham Kemp, VK4BB, Bill Stearns, NE4RD, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. We have no solar update this week. We'll try to catch up with Dr. T next week. Now, I was prowling around Facebook, and I saw a post. Actually, I saw this on several of the ham radio groups on Facebook, and I want to read this to you. And, Kara, if you want to pull up those pictures of Caden, a guy named Caden Callahan posted this. Says, "Greetings, fellow amateur radio operators. My name is Caden Callahan. I'm 17 years old. My call is K5KGC." He goes on to say his recent upgrade to general was cause for his desire to obtain an HF radio and antenna. enabling him to make contacts on the HF bands. He posted he had a goal of working over the summer to obtain such a valuable piece of equipment. I had not realized, however, that my post would inspire some very generous individuals to donate their hard-earned money to my situation. This fact was recently revealed to me, and I would like to thank every individual who donated to me, for I have great pleasure in announcing that I have obtained a Yaesu 450D, which has proven to be a superb entry-level HF radio along with a 75-amp power supply. He plans on putting an amplifier on that thing. Again, I thank those who not only showed great generosity in donating to me, but those who have and continued to push me in the right direction as I continue to experience the wonderful world of amateur radio. With that in mind, I wish you all 73, and here's hoping to make contact with you soon. Caden, K5KGC. That is a great story on so many levels. First off, he's 17. He's a general. He just got upgraded. And of the fellow hams who have donated to him in order to get him on the air on HF, and the fact that he is so appreciative, I think this is great. We're going to try to get Caden on Ham Nation soon. I'm going to reach out and try to contact him. But Caden, if you're watching, and for those of you who donated to Caden's cause, this is just the best. This made my week. I couldn't wait until Wednesday night to share this with you. So Caden Callahan, K5KGC. A newly minted general, and he's on the air, and he's waiting to talk to you. So, there you go. Now let's hear a word from our friends over at ICOM, shall we?
September is National Preparedness Month. Set some time aside and review your emergency communications plan for air, land, or sea. Make sure your ICOM equipment is ready to go for any situation. ID 5100A has taken innovation and mobility to the next level. With its touchscreen and internal GPS, this radio is a must-have while assessing a situation. The large 5.5-inch display responds naturally to the touch. DV-DV Dual Watch receives both FM-FM and FM-DB mode signals simultaneously. Show your position, course, and speed with the integrated GPS receiver, and the optional VS3 Bluetooth headset provides hands-free communication. Connect your Android to ICOM's most popular dual-band transceiver, the ID51A+. Filled with enhanced functions and digital features, you won't want to be without this handheld communication solution. Send and receive text messages and photos. Transfer data 3.5 times faster with DV Fast Data Mode. Communicate with the touch of your fingertips. Perfect for small spaces. The IC7100 is the ideal D-Star option for wherever you may be. Angled control head and touchscreen for quick intuitive operation, large internal speaker for clear digital audio, and it's perfect for multiband and all-mode communications. Get more information on all the great ICOM radios at icomamerica.com/amateur.
You can tune in and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to icomamerica.com/hamnation. Register for some great swag prizes like t-shirts and hats. And while you're there, learn how you could win in the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. For September, the grand prize is the ICOM ID 51A+, dual band, dual watch, VHF, UHF digital transceiver, both analog and D-Star, near-me repeater function, enhanced DPRS, fast DV data mode, and more. So go to icomamerica.com/hamnation after this and each episode of Ham Nation and register to win. Sign up, good luck, and don't forget to follow ICOM America Inc. on Facebook and Twitter. And I've got another radio that you could possibly win, and that's this IC7300 right behind me here, ICOM's new SDR radio that's been making a big splash everywhere it goes. This is one of the ones we used at Field Day this year. We're going to be giving that away. If you'd like to win that, well, go to amateurlogic.tv/contest and learn more about this IC7300 giveaway. If you've already registered for that, don't do it again. You can only register once, but you certainly want to get in on it. And now we've got Randy back with some more on his kit building experiences with that little receiver.
Hi, Randy, K7AGE, with part 4 of the ZZRX-40 40-meter direct receiver kit build. In the previous video, I showed installing many of these parts on the board, and I also talked about the components which are polarity sensitive. I'm going to pick up on page 5 where we left off and continue installing parts on the board. Now, many of these are the same type of components as I installed on the part 3 video, so I'm going to go through this faster, and I will not be showing you every single part being placed and soldered on the board. If there's something that's a little different or special, I'll spend more time showing you that. Okay, the first part I'm going to install is the audio jack. So I'm going to go ahead and solder one pin on this first, and then I'm going to push up on the other side on the part to make sure it's up against the board. So the visual check was good. The part is flushed down to the circuit board, so now I'll go ahead and solder the remaining 2 pins. So the next part is C1, the 180 picofarad capacitor, small blue one, marked 181. So I'm going to go ahead and install C2, the 820 picofarad small blue capacitor labeled 821. I'm going to place that on the board here at the same time. So I'll show you soldering these 2 capacitors. You can see I've folded the leads over and out of the way of each other so I can get in here and solder these 4 leads for these 2 capacitors. 3 more of these 0.1 microfarad little blue capacitors labeled 104K. Capacitor C3 on the board right here, and C8 is right here, and C14 is up here. So, okay, the next 2 parts I've placed on the board are C4 and C5. These are both 100 picofarad small blue capacitors labeled 101J. It's these 2 blue caps here. I'll go ahead and solder them. Okay, the next 2 capacitors are 0.22 microfarad capacitors, C9 and C10. C9 is right here, and C10 is right below it, right next to the IC socket. Okay, the next 2 capacitors are 100 microfarad electrolytic capacitors for C13 and C15. And notice on C15 the plus goes out, so we want to have the negative lead pointing towards the inside of the circuit board. And on the other capacitor, we want to have the negative lead facing on the outside of the printed circuit board. Okay, the next 2 capacitors I placed on the board. First one is C11 right here, and you can see the plus lead is labeled on the board on the inside, so the negative stripe of the capacitor is on the right side. The second capacitor is C12. This is a 2.2 microfarad capacitor, and again you can see the plus lead goes in on the inside of the board and the negative stripe is on the outside. Okay, I placed 4 resistors on the board here. So the first resistor is R4, and that's right here. It's a 1 meg of brown, black, green, gold. The next resistor is R5, and that's right here, and that's a 100K ohm of brown, black, yellow. Then R6 and R7 are both 10K brown, black, orange, gold. And R6 is right here, and R7 is right over here. And the next resistor I placed on the board is R10. It's a 10 ohm brown, black, black, gold, and that's located right here. And I'll let you watch me solder this resistor. Okay, the next 2 parts I placed on the board. The first is L1. It's a 3.3 microhenry green body, and it's orange, orange, gold, gold. And the second part I placed on the board is D3. It's a 1N4004 diode. And again, you can see on the printed circuit board, it's silkscreen where the end with the line, the marked line goes. You got to make sure you put that on in the proper spot. Just kind of bend them up here a little bit. Just take my pliers and just bend the end over. Now these are the shims for the potentiometers. So it's time to break these apart. Okay, what they want me to do is place one of these wires in this top left corner of the shim, and then place 6 more behind it. Okay, then once the stack is made up, they want you to place it on the board. Okay, the next step here is to feed the wires down the other 3 corners. And you have to make sure you get it through all the boards. So So just kind of wiggle the boards. There, I got it. There's number 3. Clunk, clunk, clunk. There, 4. Okay, I've got all the 4 wires in the second shim stack, and I bent the leads over. Don't want this to fall apart when I turn the board order. Now go ahead and solder all of these. And then trim all the leads. Okay, the next step is to solder the wire pins in each corner, and to use the very minimum amount of solder, because they don't want the height to build up too much, because it will interfere with the potentiometers when we solder those on. And it looks like I have the leads trimmed fairly short to the board here. And the next part is to mount the BNC antenna jack and solder that in. And I'll go ahead and solder in the BNC. These two here are fairly large. This may take a little more time to get the solder BNC and the pad to heat up. What we're going to do next is solder the potentiometers, one on the top of each one of the shim stacks. There's 4 pins here which go into the 4 holes, and then there's these larger mounting tabs that go in these back holes. Then they kind of recommend using maybe a small screwdriver to help push these in. So checking my soldering and lead trimming is all very close to the board. So what I did was just take my needle nose and just bend out the tab on each side just a slight amount, and now it's clearing the pad. Then the next part we're going to install is C21. The trim cap goes in those 3 holes. So what I'm going to do here is solder in 1 pin, then heat it up, and just double check, just press on that on the other side of the board. Okay, the next part is to mount the crystal on the board, and I'm going to mark it with the writing towards the bottom. It doesn't matter which way it goes in. Now that drops right down to the board, but they want you to leave it about 1/16 of an inch above the board. So I'm just going to push it up here a little bit, and then I'm going to bend the leads over on the other side. And I checked the crystal when I flipped the board over, and it is indeed up off the board a little bit. And you can see the crystal is up off the board, clear. U1 in first, it's the NE602, and you got to make sure the little notch on the IC is in alignment with the notch on the socket pointing towards the top of the board. And kind of wiggle it around. I can feel the pins kind of seat in the socket, and now I'm going to push it down, and it goes clunk. And I can see on this side of the socket all the pins look good. They're seated in and not bent up underneath. Now install the LM386U2, put the chip in the socket and push down, and I can just feel the pin slide in. Well, I think I've run out of parts. Looks like all the holes are filled. I think I have the board finished. There's still more to do with the kit though. I'm going to finish this video. We have the board complete now, and now the next video I'll put the case together and finish up the project. Again, thanks for watching. This is Randy, K7AGE.
Like it's been some kind of fun project there, and you know, no surface mount components, no toroids to wind. Highly recommended. And just a little secret here, Randy told me that the kit actually works, and he's going to show us that next week, and that'll be great to see. Speaking of kits, and this is not really a kit, I guess, for sale, but Bill Brown, WB8ELK, has been making some Pico balloons. That's the little PC board right there. A couple of solar panels on either end of it there, no battery, and he flies those things on these little Mylar party balloons, and they've been getting some incredible distances out of those things. They only work during the daylight because there's no batteries, but I had a chance when I was in Huntsville to visit with Bill, shoot a little video on that, and if you want to see it, go over to amateurlogic.tv, episode 95. You know, I have not really been a big balloon fanatic, but when I saw what Bill was doing here, it really got my interest up. They are doing some cool stuff now, and just absolutely no weight at all to it. It's amazing how it works, and with such low power. Well, you know, last week I asked a question, And this came from the amateur radio technician exam. Which of the following is true concerning grounding conductors used for lightning protection? And your choices were A, only non-insulated wire must be used. B, wires must be carefully routed with precise right angle bends. C, sharp bends must be avoided. Or D, common grounds must be avoided. Well, our random drawing produced a winner, and that was Joe Nelson, N5VPP. And he said, George, it's C, sharp bends must be avoided. No right angles. That's correct, Joe. On your lightning grounds, you want that to be as direct a path to ground as you can. If you put an angle in there or coil it up, you're going to impede the lightning finding its way to ground. We're going to send you this MFJ. It's a 270 Guardian Angel Lightning Surge Suppressor. They've got a lot of different models of these. This particular one has PL259 connections. It's actually SO239s, but screw your PL259s onto it. They've also got some with Type N connectors, gas suppression blocks here. That'll help keep surges out of your radio. So nice little device there. I've got another question and another prize for next week. This one, and we're going to get a little bit harder here, comes from the general class amateur radio exam. How are radio communications usually affected by the charged particles that reach the Earth from solar coronal holes? A, HF communications are improved. B, HF communications are disturbed. C, VHF-UHF ducting is improved. And D, VHF-UHF ducting is disturbed. Which one do you think it is? Well, you know, we had Dr. Scove on here recently, and she talked about that very subject. So you ought to have a pretty good idea of the answer. Send it to me, hamnationcontest@gmail.com, and you might be the lucky winner of a DX Engineering ceramic coffee mug. Get that answer to me. We'll find out who gets a cup of coffee next week. And now, let's go to Don. I think he could put some shaving cream or something in one of these mugs and come up with a use for it.
You know, I'm actually waiting for Harry's to come out with a mug and a brush. You know, they have a brick and mortar store over in New York City, and I bet you they have that there, and I bet you could probably buy it there. But they don't have that available on their website yet. But they keep coming out with new stuff all the time. And in fact, they sent me some stuff. It's a post-shave balm. I'll show this to you here a little bit later as we get to the end. Well, I'll show it to you now. Sorry about it. They sent me this post-shave balm. And, you know, they have the after-shave balm as well. But this is not exactly the same. But still, I put some on this morning after I shaved. And I still smell it. It smells great. It's nice and clean. Harry's, just the best stuff ever. I love my Harry's razor because it's something that I do for myself, and I kind of pamper myself with it. You know, I don't shave with Harry's every day, but when I do, I tell you what, tomorrow is my 32nd wedding anniversary. You can bet tomorrow morning I'm going to have this chrome handle. I'm gonna be giving it this because my baby deserves nothing but the best. And that's my face and Harry's. They're different from the big razor companies because the big razor companies have this annoying habit of putting out new models and raising their prices, which are already higher than a cat's back on Halloween night. Unlike those other guys, Harry's doesn't believe in upcharging, which is why they make their own razors. They make them even better. They're keeping prices exactly the same. They have this 5-blade razor, which has a softer flex hinge, has a more comfortable glide, and it's really nice. You're going to love it. There's a trimmer blade for hard-to-reach places. There's a 6th blade right on the edge. It includes the end, rather. It includes a lubricating strip and the textured handle. I love the chrome handle, but I love it even better with the rubber texture on here because the chrome metal handle that I have here could get kind of slippery, but with those little dimpled rubber inserts there, just great stuff. The best part, still just $2 a blade compared to $4 or more when you buy at the drugstore because they own their own factory in Germany. they make their own blades. And because they do that, they can produce high-quality razors themselves, sell them online for half the price. It's not new math. It's not Common Core. It's common sense. Quality, always 100% guaranteed. If you don't love your shave, Harry's will fully refund you. A starter set is an amazing deal. You get a weighted razor handle of your choice, moisturizing shave cream, 3 precision-engineered 5-blade cartridges, and a travel cover, all for just $15. And for a limited time, special offer for fans of Ham Nation. We've partnered with Harry's to give you $5 off your first purchase when you visit harrys.com/hamnation. harrys.com/hamnation. Go there now, get $5 off your first purchase. And while you're there, go ahead and get some of this post-shave balm. You're going to like this. And something else they have that I really like. You see, here's the aftershave lotion. Not the same as the post-shave balm, but close. But this is I really like this. This is the daily face wash. It's kind of exfoliating. It's got this it's got a grit to it, which and peppermint and eucalyptus. And man, you talk about tightening up your face. This feels great and smells even better. harrys.com/hamnation. Go there, peruse all that they have, and take advantage of the offer because you're going to absolutely love it. We're all Harry's men and ladies here on Ham Nation. Dale is a Harry's guy. Let's look at Dale's hairy face. I mean, not hairy face. I mean, lovely. There he is. Yeah, do you shave the head? Do you do the top of the head too? Do you do the top of the head too, Dale?
What was that, Don?
I said, do you do this? Look, do you give it one of these? Come back to me, Kara. Come back to me, Kara. Do you give it one of these in the morning? Do you do that? Do you shave the top of the head as well with your Harrys?
No, well, it looks like it, but I just don't have any hair up there, so we don't have to worry about it too much.
Well, you look lovely, nonetheless. You're a handsome man. I think we can all agree on that.
Okay, fantastic. Enjoyed the Harry's commercial, Don. And tonight we've got 2 videos I think everyone will enjoy. One from a recent annual ham campout and the beginning of a 6-part DIY series. So let's jump right in now with a report from the 2016 version of the Papa Ham Camp. With that report, here's Bob. He's W6CJX.
Each year, the Papa System, Southern California's premier repeater group, holds its annual Papa Ham Camp on Santa Cruz Island. Santa Cruz Island is located 26 miles off the Pacific coastline of Ventura, California, in the Channel Islands National Park. Joe Walsh, WB6ACU, is chairman for the Santa Cruz Island Foundation, and is seen here with Monsignor Francis Weber, who we all thank for their support of this magnificent island. Here we are, getting our gear together to board our boat with island packers. They will get us across the channel in about an hour, depending on the amount of dolphins, whales, and sea lions we may encounter. Our boat soon arrives at Scorpion Landing as we make our short half-mile hike to our campsite at the Scorpion Campground. After getting our camp set up, Rick, N6IET, assembles his 36-foot mast 4-band inverted V-dipole antenna for making some CW contacts on his Yaesu FT-857D throughout our 4-day island adventure. Ray, WA6NVL, is demonstrating how his new ham hammock and HT in hand can make for a relaxing afternoon. The island fox, who was on the endangered species list, has made a miraculous comeback and can be seen on most parts of the island. Special care has to be taken that these adorable little guys only steal your heart and not your food or articles of clothing. Besides our ham radio activities, there are plenty of great things to enjoy here. Some of our members rented kayaks and explored the sea caves, while others went on a 14-mile round-trip hike to Smuggler's Cove. Snorkeling is also a fantastic way to enjoy all that this island paradise has to offer. we made use of our solar panels to recharge our daily battery power needs and solar shower bags for a refreshing hot shower in the evening. Each night, we held an island net on one of the many Papa System linked repeaters to inform the folks back home of our daily activities. The youngest ham in our group, 12-year-old Keith, KK6PWY, took a turn at net control. Each morning, we were greeted with a beautiful sunrise from our east-facing beach. There are plenty of old ranch and farming equipment from the island's past history for all the visitors to check out. This is a great place to do a reset from the hustle and bustle of everyday life with no cell service or Wi-Fi available to the visitors on the island. The only form of communication is our handhelds and mobile radios to the local repeaters. Well, it's our last night on the island, so we all get together for a final gathering to start making plans and look forward to next year's adventure. The bags are all packed and ready to go as we make our way down to the shore to meet our boat for our journey home.
Well, thanks, Bob. We appreciate those great photos from Santa Cruz. I'll bet that annual Papa Ham Camp is the way to ham. And it looks like a lot of fun. So next, we're going to move right on, and we've got a treat for the DIY fans in the Ham Nation community. If you're all thumbs and the exact opposite of mechanically inclined like I am, you'll be amazed by the originality and the skill in this series of how-to videos. The end result will be a nice do-it-yourself antenna, but we're going to tackle each piece of the project one by one. Bob Rice, VE3HKY, was nice enough to segment his videos so they could be presented here on our Ham Nation video segment. Tonight, he shows us how to make a coil form out of a piece of PVC conduit. Let's go watch a master at work now. Here's Bob.
Now we can break those pieces out of there without too much difficulty. And there's nothing exact or perfect about how you cut this, as long as it serves your purpose. So there, we've now got a slot in there, and that will take us to the next part of the demonstration. Now this is a 1-inch pipe die for 1-inch national pipe thread. And if we take our conduit, our 3/4-inch PVC conduit, we'll find that it slips right through, no problem whatsoever. So what we do is we take our die and we modify it. We've removed the 4 screws that were holding it in place. We take the cap off of it. Now what we do now is we advance the 4 dies towards the center. So it creates a smaller circumference. Now be careful because they are numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. So counterclockwise they are numbered to give the proper cutting. Now what we want to do is, we have a couple of choices here. We can use, as it were, a number 14 wire and number 12 wire. A number 14 wire is about 65 thousandths thick. What I have been using, and it's somewhere in between a number 14 wire and a number 12 wire, are just plastic spacers that are about 74 thousandths of an inch thick. So what I will do is I will nest them in there. I will push the dies in that thickness, then put the cap back on. Now that'll provide a view of the spacers just taped in place with masking tape. And once we have the cap on, of course, they'll stay in position, no problem whatsoever. Now, I'm certain that a lot of what I'm showing you today will not be found in the machinist handbook as good practice, but it does work. And it's worked very well for me without destroying anything. there is that piece that we slid, and that's going to fit onto there, and then it quite nicely fits into the actual die as a spacer to hold the conduit centered while we're running it through with the electric drill. Now, we had a slot that we cut in it. We have a slot that we cut in here. This 1-inch wood bit fits into there perfectly. So you fit the 1-inch wood bit into there. You can slide this back at any time. What it's doing, it's preventing the PVC conduit from splitting, from opening up. We don't want it to open up. So we're going to put our drill in there, and we're going to put the piece of conduit, as you see there, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start our drill. Now, this will provide you with a view of the coil form, or the PVC conduit, which has been made into a coil form. It comes out in quite good condition.
Okay, well, thanks, Bob. In the next several months, Bob will be showing us how to build multi-tap coils, mast-mounted PVC standoffs, hermetically sealed high-voltage capacitors, and a guy wire attachment ring. So should be very interesting during the next 5 segments here. He'll also be showing us how to use an antenna analyzer as a dip meter. So it's going to be a great series for all homebrew DIY fans. Well, in 2 weeks, we hope to show you a National Parks on the Air activation again. This one from Petersburg National Battlefield in Virginia. And we'll also continue Bob's DIY series. Hopefully, we'll have enough time to sneak in a few shack photos, too. There's several been coming in during the past several months. In the meantime, if you'll send your favorite shack photos and your videos to hamnationvideos@twit.tv, we'll try to get them on the air for you. If you get a chance, please take the time to check out the submission guidelines. We publish them at hamnationvideos.info. And if you'll do that before you hit send on that email, that would be fantastic. Right now, it's time to go out to Colorado, and we're going to travel to Canyon City through the magic of Skype, where Amanda has the latest from the chat room. Amanda, it's all yours now. Take it away.
Good evening, Dale. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And nice videos there, by the way. So let's get to it here. I have a couple of announcements first. Did you guys know there's a D-Star QSO party coming up? Don't forget it. It's September 23rd through the 25th. So get your D-Star radios ready. If you don't have D-Star where you live, get the radio and then get a dongle and get yourself up there. Next thing I have is the Peoria Superfest Ham Fest this weekend, the 17th and 18th in Peoria, Illinois. I'm sure you can just Google that and find out more about it if you're interested in going. I also know there's the W9DXCC convention is coming up soon. The next thing I had this great question for Bob and he didn't show up. He didn't stick around tonight. That's okay. No problems, Bob. I'll save this for you for next week. So there was another question for Bob as well. Bob, do you do any QRP? So I'm going to just send it around the horn. Do any of you guys work QRP? Dale, you take it away first.
I haven't done it in a while. I did it when I first started off, back when I had the homebrew regen receiver and some of that equipment back in the 1950s, but haven't done it lately. But it's amazing what you can do with QRP. I tell you, during the Kansas QSO party, I worked probably a dozen at least, if not 24 stations that were QRP. And if the propagation's with you, they sounded just as good as those guys with a full kilowatt. Amanda, go ahead.
Okay, and I do have another question for you. Everyone wants to know, what's the ham's call sign that was using PVC pipe as a coil form?
It's VE3HKY, VE3 Hotel Kilo Yankee. Had to make sure I didn't get the wrong letters. And he is Bob Rice. He lives up in Canada there.
Okay, well, we knew what he was talking about, right? Okay. Gordo, I heard your wonderful laugh in there. You work QRP if you're doing 10 gigs at 2 watts. So congrats there. I do have, actually, I know that you're big into Aries and you have done a lot of public service events. And I'm getting ready to do a 100-mile bike ride next week. So this is a personal question. And it's something that we never really talk about. I don't see it in a lot of forums. How do you address talking on the air about medical emergencies if a bike rider were to, I know this is kind of horrible thinking, but you always have to think about it. If a bike rider were to get hit by a car, things like that, what do you say over the radio? You have any advice for us?
And, that's a good point, Amanda. And that is, you must remember that if we're operating FM, there's a lot of other folks listening. And generally, we would first direct our call to net control, WB6NOA with priority traffic, or if it's really bad with emergency traffic, net control. And you would say you need a response, paramedics or an ambulance at a specific location, and just a general description of the accident so that they can be thinking, are we going to bring in a backboard or a neck brace, by indicating rider tangled with a car. I would say it more professionally that a rider and car in an accident. Go ahead.
That's helpful. Thank you. I never know exactly how to discuss these things, and I coordinate this ride. It's hard to actually try to get that point over to people, because you know that everyone in this situation is going to be panicked. I mean, it's just what's going to happen. Use your technical things, brake. If it's a real emergency, break into the net control, things like that. So always having the proper protocol, you guys, keep it together.
Absolutely, Amanda. And one other thing I would add is if your operators are wearing either an external speaker mic or a headset with a boom mic, make sure that there's a muff covered. This little guy right here, make sure that's over the headset or over the speaker mic if there's any wind at all, or if you're bicycling, giving reports, because wind is the biggest enemy to getting a good, clear voice through a VHF or UHF net when wearing an external microphone headset or just an external mic. Get a wind sock for it.
Or turn your head the other way. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Whatever works. George, what about you? Do you do any RP? I just lost power.
Nope, you're okay, Amanda. Go ahead. You're good.
I swear, our whole house, just the whole power went down. I'm like, okay, so I'm still connected. All right, good to go. George, go ahead and answer the question.
Do I operate QRP? Well, most of the radio stations I take care of are either 100 kW or 50 kW, but I do have one that's just a kilowatt. So, yes, I operate QRP.
I don't believe it. You and Tommy don't go out into the woods and throw a wire up there and run 1 watt or something talking to Japan. Well, come on.
To be honest, the only time I've ever worked QRP is when I built a kit that had QRP power, and I wanted to test it out or try it. But that's been about it.
Okay. Well, I'll take that one for you. Wow, you guys are still shocked though. Everything went black here, and we're still up. Kudos, Jeff. You did a good job, honey. He's got our backup power going well. All right, that's all I have. I just have some net announcements. So 7211 for the 40-meter net and 14268 for the 20-meter net. And we have 14 Charlie for the D-Star net and do drop in for the Echolink net. So you guys, hope you can all tune in and find somewhere to join in and say hello to everyone else. So that's all I've got. Who's wrapping this thing up tonight, you guys?
Well, that's a good question. I don't
George,
think we
is it
made
you?
arrangements. I can. Oh, and nice shirt, Dale. I like that shirt that you're wearing tonight.
Yeah, it's almost a match. You've got orange, I've got a little bit red. So
yeah,
I love Hawaiian shirts in the summertime. So
all I can say is real people bleed orange with Broncos.
Well, another
Go
fun
Broncos.
show tonight. Before we get out of here, though, let's just go around one more time and see if anybody's got any final comments. Dale, how about you? Anything from Kansas?
Not a whole lot. We had a lot of water. In fact, we got water in our basement. We have a walk-in basement, and the creek came up. We got about almost just shy of 8 inches of rain in about 6 hours there last Thursday night. So it's been a busy weekend. Tell Amanda there, I did get my DXCC not too long after hers got it. It came in the mail last week. So that's been a goal since the 1950s. So I finally got around to doing that. So a lot of fun. Did it all through LOTW, which is, to me, a lot easier than doing all the card things. So it was a lot of fun. So that's about it, George.
That's great. Congratulations, Dale. Glad to hear that. Gordo, we looked at MCOM 1 when we were in Huntsville a few weeks ago, and I shot a lot of video. I just got through editing it, and we'll tell the folks here next week where they can go watch it. Boy, what a nice van. And I was thinking, this is right up Gordo's alley. Have you got anything final for us tonight?
My final question is, does it make a difference as to whether or not the PVC coil form, now that we've got it grooved, is either white or gray? Does the color paint have any type of conductivity to it that might throw off the number of coils that we're going to wind around it? We'll find out. See everybody next week.
That's a good question, Gordo, and I wonder if it matters if it's left-handed or right-handed thread. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Amanda, anything final from you this week? And by the way, great show last week.
Well, thank you. I think Val rocked it. Having Katie and Tamitha on for the first one, how could we have had a better group than that? So really looking forward to the next one. We have a huge list of people that we want to have on, but number one, I want to have Karen from Amateur Radio Newsline on. That one's going to be great. She's going to be a great guest. So we did work really hard. Dale, one more question. Hey, how'd you survive that earthquake out there in Kansas? You doing okay?
Hey, that was something else. It was down in Oklahoma, just south of Arkansas City, not too many miles. So about 55, 60 miles south of here. And we were asleep, and the bed started rocking like you were at sea. It was really weird, because that's the first time I've experienced that much of an earthquake here. But we didn't have any damage or anything from the earthquake, though, Amanda.
Good.
None
and
at all. But it was quite exciting, and the Twitter and Facebook networks lit up immediately right after that. So
I could imagine. And Gordo's probably just shaking his head like, oh, amateurs, and Kara too, probably just like, whatever. Earthquake once every 10 years. Go away. Anyhow, that's all I have, you guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Over to you, George.
All right. Thanks for being with us tonight, everyone. We'll be back again next week. I know Bob is going to be going through the antenna project. He had planned to show this week, but due to the weather, he didn't want to risk it. Also, Randy's going to be back with the final portion of that kit build, and he's going to show us that the radio actually works. And I don't know what everybody else is doing, but we'll be tuning in to find out. 7-3, thanks for being here.